I love you, Beth Cooper.
In the chaos of graduation, nerdy Denis confesses his love for the stunning Beth Cooper during his valedictorian speech. Little does he know, this bold move will turn his world upside down. That night, Beth shows up at his door, dragging Denis into a wild, unforgettable adventure filled with unexpected twists and hilarious chaos. Buckle up for a night that Denis will never forget.
Hey folks, Mahi here. Heads up, there are spoilers ahead, so grab your snacks and let's dive into today's story.
The movie starts with a party celebrating high school graduation. We meet Denis, the main character who has feelings for Beth Cooper, the popular girl in school. Denis's friend Rich tells him to confess his feelings to Beth, thinking it might be his last chance. During the party, Denis gets the chance to speak, but it's a bit dull at first, with only his parents enjoying themselves. Then Denis decides to confess his love to Beth, surprising everyone, especially Beth, who doesn't even know him. To make matters worse, Beth's boyfriend from the military is also there. Denis encourages others to share their secrets and wishes. After his speech, everyone is shocked. Later, outside, Denis is approached by a teacher who is upset about what he said. When Beth sees Denis, she feels a bit surprised by his confession, but finds it cute and smiles. Feeling hot, she takes off her robe, revealing a short t-shirt and shorts that make her look attractive. Rich interrupts them, but Denis stops Beth from leaving and invites her to his party. However, she doesn't want to go and tries to leave. Kevin, Beth's boyfriend, comes over and gets angry with Denis, but the school teacher defends him. After Kevin leaves, Denis and Rich go home and talk about why Rich hasn't had a girlfriend in high school. It turns out that Denis hasn't had a girlfriend either, but it's because he hasn't been able to meet anyone. When Denis graduated, his parents gave him an iPod. Rich admits that his parents handed him a bill to repay all the money he spent on it, which amounted to about $250,000. The guys are getting ready for the party. Denis feels nervous and checks his t-shirt, deciding to air it out. Denis's parents come home and give advice about the party. They especially emphasize that Denis needs to change his underwear if he wants the evening to go well. The parents leave the kids 23 bottles of champagne and leave their number in case of any problems. The father also gives some advice to his son. He tells Denis to make this summer as memorable as possible and that he can do whatever he wants before leaving. The father tells them where the contraceptives are, and the boys understand his hint. After Denis's parents leave, they wait for the guests. Suddenly, a car speeds around the corner and heads straight for the guys with Beth driving. She's brought her best girlfriends with her. Getting out of the car, the guys are immediately filled with excitement as the girls are very cute. Walking into the house, the girls are surprised that there are no other guests, as they have never been the first to arrive at parties before. The guys make bad jokes, and the girls don't understand them. Suddenly, Beth gets a call from her boyfriend. Rich and Denis get out the champagne to relax. It turns out the girls get turned on by the champagne and are ready to do a lot of things. The girlfriends are satisfied that something is already in store, and Rich goes to get the protection they were left with for the fun. While Denis is trying to open the champagne, Beth is on the phone with her boyfriend and won't tell him where she is, so he won't come. As Denis opens the champagne for the first time, he hurts his hand. Then Rich shows that he has found the protection, and the cork of the champagne shoots right into Beth's forehead. The friends laugh, but Beth and Rich quickly decide to help while Denis is lying on the floor. Beth climbs on top of him and sits down to put a cold one on him. As they talk, Denis's arousal gradually increases, and Beth feels it as she sits right on top of him. She's surprised and likes it. After that, Denis gets up and hides his excitement. The girls realize what's up, and they like it. The girls decide to leave and say goodbye to the guys. Suddenly, they notice another car approaching the house with Kevin and his friends behind the wheel. The car parks right on the lawn outside the house. One of the girls opens the door to meet her boyfriend. Denis takes her into the house and closes the door so no one can get in. He hurries to close all the windows, but doesn't have time to close the last door, and Kevin manages to get in. Once inside the house, he threatens Denis and smashes a vase into the wall, then takes a bottle of champagne. The guys easily dodge the bottles. Then Kevin throws the microwave into the wall, and the guys run away. They lock themselves in their room and look for weapons. The only thing they can find is a child's sword. Rich hides in the closet, and Denis hides behind the wall. After Kevin enters, he notices that Denis has a picture of Beth above his bed. Denis decides to fight Kevin, but Kevin has a skeleton behind his back, from which he rips the arms and begins to attack. Kevin deftly wields the skeleton's arms and stabs his opponent. Rich gets out of the closet and jumps out the window. Beth bursts into the room and stops Kevin. She notices her picture above Denis's bed and is surprised. Denis heads for the window, but Kevin quickly wakes up and nudges him. He falls right into the rose bushes. Denis picks up his friend and they run away over the fence. They are sent off in pursuit. Denis runs out into the road and notices a car coming at him. Beth hits Denis and gets him in the car before they leave. Rich catches up with them. They all get in the car together and Beth steps on the gas. It turns out Beth is a very bad driver. Rich remembers their driving lessons together at driving school and realizes they're still in danger. Denis is thankful for his rescue. He asks for the phone to call his parents, but since they're busy, the man shoves the vibrating phone down his wife's pants. Beth remembers they can be tracked on the phone and throws it out the window. Then they turn on the music and the group starts to party. They sing and dance, all on the same cage, having a good time. The group gets to the gas station and Beth slams on the brakes. A guy hits his head and falls right between the girl's legs. Beth and Denis go to buy beer at the store. Denis compliments the girl and she likes it. After they have shopped, they are not sold alcohol because they are still in high school. The girl convinces the clerk to sell them beer, and in return, she kisses him passionately. Denis hears all this and becomes disillusioned with the girl. When they get to the woods, they set up a bonfire and try to have some fun. Beth treats Denis to a beer and shows him that she can open the bottle with her teeth. Denis tries to do it too and breaks his tooth. They have romantic music playing and the girls are loving it. The friends realize that the couple needs to be left alone and leave. They find some cows and decide to mess around with them. Denis talks about his future plans and what university he plans to go to. Beth asks why he is disappointed, and Denis replies that his idea of Beth Cooper wouldn't make out for 12 cans of beer as she is worth more than that. Meanwhile, their friends are trying to mess with a cow. Suddenly, all the cows decide to run after them. After they get back to the car, they tell what happened. Beth smells a foul odor, which turns out to be from Rich. After the cows, he leaves his sneakers behind to get in the car, and they go on their way. In addition to the dangerous driving, Beth turns off the headlights, and they continue driving without lights. When the lights come back on, they immediately crash into someone's car. It turns out it's Denis's parents. The school kids see what his parents are up to and decide to make a quick getaway. They arrive at the party and the girls head to the pool. The guys see that Beth is already talking to someone else. Denis goes to the bathroom and is found by Greg, whom Denis insulted at the reunion. Denis finds the right words and the formidable guy starts crying as he had not been understood before. They gradually become friends. Greg hugs Denis and he feels better. Denis goes back to his friend while they are getting food and punch. A classmate comes up to them and admits that they liked Denis's speech. After Denis finds out Kevin's at the party, he runs away. On the way, he meets Beth. They notice Kevin making out with someone else and Beth dumps him. They pick up Denis and his friend. Beth has a plan to help them. Kevin wants to beat up Denis, but Denis asks the people around him to help. The landlady comes in and tells Kevin to punish Denis. Suddenly, the school coach comes out and sets the rules of the fight. Denis gives up as he doesn't want to fight, but Kevin suddenly hits him. Greg stands up for him and knocks Kevin out. Then he knocks out the other two, but in the end, he loses. Suddenly, a car driven by Beth pulls up to the house. She picks up her friends and they drive off. They scream in the car, and Beth decides to drive back to school to have fun. Since the girls are cheerleaders, they dance for the guys. Beth gets sad, and they head to the shower. Rich goes to get them. Denis enters the locker room and sees the beautiful classmates who are shrouded only in towels. Beth approaches Denis, throwing the towel off herself. Her friends invite Denis to go swimming with them. He agrees and is ready to join the completely clean classmates. The girls call out to their friends, and the guys head over after Rich leaves. Denis is left alone and is found by Kevin. His friend comes to the rescue and saves Denis. The girls run out of the shower. They run to the car, and on the way, they notice that Denis has no pants. At the same time, Rich fights off his abusers. It turns out that he has been preparing for a fight with a towel since childhood, and he defeats each of them. Rich gets to his friends who are waiting for him by the car. They discuss why it all started, and Denis tells all the little things he knows about Beth. The friends give him tampons to stop the nosebleeds. Beth reveals that she and her friends originally thought coming to Denis's party was a joke and would be fun. But things didn't go according to plan, as Denis now has a broken nose. Beth tells him to take off his shirt as it stinks. Afterward, she picks up her shirt to air it out, accidentally losing it. Beth stops abruptly, and her friend falls right on top of Rich. Getting back up, Denis enters, looking for the shirt, forgetting that he's wearing his favorite underwear. The friends laugh, but Beth decides to dress him in her cape. They search for the t-shirt together and discuss why Beth is dating Kevin. Beth also wonders why Denis gave that speech at the prom and confessed his love. He goes into detail about why he did that, and Beth likes it. They find his shirt. He decides to take it for himself. He scares the school kids and they run away. Upon reaching Beth's house, the fun continues. They warm up with a drink and Beth calls Denis to watch the sunrise. They take a walk and Beth talks about her brother. Rich jokes with the girls and they get to know each other better as he realizes that they have a lot to talk about. At the same time, Denis, along with Beth, meets the sunrise. Beth says she likes to be hugged, but when Denis reaches out to do so, she stops him. Rich continues to convince his girlfriends that he likes girls, and they tell him why he didn't get turned on in the shower. They try to seduce Rich and show him how they like to eat cookies. After that, they slowly stretch his shirt and go to the bedroom to continue. At the same time, Denis tells Beth that the only thing he will remember from school is tonight. Beth says that school was the best years for her, but sadly, they are over and she will miss it. Beth is scared to go into the unknown after school. Denis comforts Beth by telling her that everything will be okay. Then he kisses her. The parents clean up the mess from the party. When the school kids get home, the parents realize they saw them at night. Denis's mom starts making breakfast, and his dad supports him. He's happy. Denis had fun, but says he should be punished for the first time. Denis is happy it all worked out. Beth and Denis say goodbye and plan to meet at the reunion. Maybe even get married if they're still single. The girls get in the car and drive off in their own style. So that's it. If you enjoyed this movie, share your thoughts in the comments section below. And don't forget to check out the recommended movie on your screen right now. Watch it and join Mahi's movie recaps.